right, I think we're on. And let me transition over. Good evening, everyone. We are back with more coverage. And let me just put my face on here. There we go. Hi, everyone. Hope you're doing okay. Let me adjust the lights so you can see me a little bit better. This is part two of severe weather coverage here. As I make sure my computer's plugged in. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings lining across the eastern shore now as this event has transitioned across the bay. Let me show you what's going on here in terms of our warnings. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings right now in southern Cecil County, Kent County, Queen Anne's County, northern Caroline County, and extreme northern Talbot County for this particular subsection. This is for storms that are lining up from about Stevensville to about Chestertown to near Chesapeake City. We do have a secondary area of severe thunderstorm warnings for a good chunk of the remainder of Caroline County, eastern Talbot County, and eastern portions of Dorchester County. Also, northwestern portions of Wycomico County are in play with this particular subset. These clusters of thunderstorms are moving off to the east northeast. This warning here for Southern Caroline into Dorchester County, actually, pardon me, for Dorchester County, northwestern Wycomico, since it would be issued by the Wakefield office, that will expire here at 5:45. The warning here for eastern Talbot County, most of Caroline County, and then eastern Kent County, Delaware, or not, pardon me, western Kent County, Delaware, western Sussex County, Delaware, that will be in place until 5:15. And then these warning, let me make sure. No, I'm sorry, 6 o'clock. No, what am I doing? Not 5:40, but 6 o'clock. I'm sorry. So about another 45 minutes. I'm kind of having trouble with time. Good grief. But then, as we move northward, these storms are over Kent Island and into Chestertown. This severe thunderstorm warning that will go until 5:45. So, understand, through at least the top of the hour, we're going to be dealing with numerous thunderstorms, some of which may be severe. We also have additional thunderstorms developing again in southern Maryland. This is the area that some areas to the north, close to the US 50, were impacted by storms earlier this afternoon, but a lot of Charles County and Calvert County and St. Mary's County hasn't had to really contend with any storms yet. So this environment is still very much ripe. I can look at the Mesonet and just tell you that here. I mean, it's 83 in Waldorf, it's 81 in Nanjemoy, with some of these storms that are just now starting to move through. But Salisbury, we're at 91 still, according to the Mesonet. Princess Anne is at 89. It is 87 right now in Quantico, Wycomico County. So we have a lot of atmospheric juice to still work with. Dew points are in the 70s. This is still a prime environment that we could get some strong to severe thunderstorms throughout the rest of the evening as this progresses. Now, I will say, if there is some good news, let me transfer over to the Sterling radar. We're starting to get a little bit of a break in the action north and west. Metro areas in north and west are starting to get a little bit of a lull. Thank goodness. We're just seeing some light rain right now across Hartford, Baltimore, Carroll, northern Howard, northern Montgomery, Frederick County, southern Washington County. Just some regular rain showers ongoing at the moment. And that spans back to the 81 corridor, back into Jefferson and Berkeley and Morgan counties, portions of Hampshire County, Hardy County. Even though there's some stronger storms towards the VA border, we have some generally light rain here, really, from the metro and points north and west. Down to the south and east of 95 is where we still have concern for severe weather here this evening. Notice we still got thunderstorms near the Philadelphia area that are starting to strengthen a little bit. Some of the stuff that's actually approaching Philadelphia proper is really starting to hit a development wall. Like, it's not having a really good time of trying to strengthen because we've already had storms in this area earlier on in Lancaster County and Chester County, getting into Delaware County. There's some other storms up towards Allentown, up towards Reading that are still severe thunderstorm warned because some of those areas are just now starting to get into that environment where we really haven't had too much prior to those storms moving through. And that's going to make its way into North Jersey and eventually towards the tri-state area of New York City at some point in due time. That's why they've had more storms here as compared to, let's say, York and Gettysburg and Chambersburg, Frederick, Hagerstown, because that area has been relatively untouched until right about this moment. Let me get back into the Dover radar so you can see what's going on. And my frames per second is tanked. Good grief. Let me see if this can help. Is it a light? Let me check. All right, now we're starting to get. Now it's starting to get the frame rate's going back up. That's good. Um, so here's our storms right now that are in the, the the eastern shore right now. I'm gonna pull up this camera in Denton because I'm really curious about what's going on in Denton. There's one on the north side of town right now, at, right by the the public services tower. Um, there in Denton. There it is. 404 313. Let's hope that could pop up without any issue. Um, there we go. Let me do this real quick. It's gonna look a little bit different here for a second. So this is 313 at 404. This is looking over that overpass. This is all by the tower here on the north side of Denton. And that's looking back north. Heavy rain moving through. You can see the raindrops there on the north side of town near Oil City. And then on the south side, especially once you get towards the Country Club Estates, Legion Heights, Andersontown, right by Ferrano, USA. That side of Denton there is getting some pretty heavy rain. But outside of that right now, that's essentially what's going on in Caroline County. Heavy thunderstorms here that's getting ready to cross completely over the state line within the next 15 to 30 minutes. We got an update to a severe thunderstorm warning. Is this the one in Dorchester? I think this was the one in Dorchester. They clipped off Wycomico County from that one. So that is good news for Wycomico County, although you may run into some thunderstorms here over the next little bit. Goodness. See how that picked up in Denton? We must have had some development that moved right through the south side and now into the north side of the city, because that rain is really picking up there in North Denton right now. This is 313 at 404, just so you know. So this is on the north side of the city. This scales for 517, but I'm willing to bet if it's that heavy, this little section right here, this little subsection, has made its way into the city and clipped it. Oh my goodness gracious. The visibility just went from you could see the bridge to nothing, like that. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And that's the danger of trying to drive up in one of these thunderstorms. And yeah, this is moving northeast. So this is moving through the city now. A very torrential rain, potentially some damaging winds as well. So that's your situation right now in Denton. That's how quickly this evolves. This will be heading towards the state line again within the next 15 to 30 minutes. So I know it's raining very hard in Burrsville and Union Corners and Whiteleysburg and Schluty Crossroads here, Lord's Corner, Sandtown along the state line. It's gonna pick up. Trust me, it's gonna start picking up here, especially in Whiteleysburg and Schulteich Crossroads. It's really gonna start picking up. Burrsville, you're already in some pretty heavy rain right now. So heavy storms moving through Federalsburg right now, down into Hurlock and Williamsburg, El Dorado, Finchville. You're getting in on some pretty good activity as well. And then this secondary line that's coming on shore into Queen Anne's County, Talbot County. That one may have 60-mile-per-hour winds with it as well. The southern half of this isn't warned over the Eastern Bay and down into Calvert County near Chesapeake Beach, but you could see some pretty good rain with this as well. Rosehaven, Fairhaven, you're getting on this. Let me check another camera because we have a camera right near Tracy's Landing, and that's going to be very interesting to observe. I didn't mean to press M dot. Soma. Let's do Tracy's Landing. Right by the Harrington North entrance there. Okay. Denton, it's raining very hard. We get it. That's what's ongoing right now. Let me show you what's going on real quickly. Switching from Denton over to Tracy's Landing, if it can allow me to pull up picture in picture here real quick. I hope it does. Come on. Forgive me. Sometimes this thing does, and sometimes this thing does not. Maybe it wants to. There we go. Now I got it. Okay. So I have to remember for future reference. But this is Tracy's Landing. I'll pull it up full. You can see how there's like a separate rain curtain to the right, but there's also a rain curtain to the left as well. This is looking out over the bay, by the way. So we're shooting out eastward. I think what's based on that perspective, that's gonna be the storm that's over towards Poplar Island. That's what's happening right here. Actually, no. Let me just verify. That's the storm's over towards if we're looking at this from Harrington North by Tracy's Landing. Yeah, that's gonna be the storms up there. Definitely. I was right. So I'm just looking at this from that perspective. And those would be the storms that are right now on the back edge heading into Poplar Island if my bearings are right. If it's looking out over the bay. That's the storm right now that's moving across the bay at this very moment. Just very interesting how we have that. And you can see how the visibility has really gone down as well. I'll pull back a little bit. You can see how we had the clear slot earlier, and now we're getting that heavy rain. There's that clear slot that we had earlier. And now as I transition it forward, there's that very heavy rain that's moving in now. I mean, goodness, that is a wall of water that we're seeing here with that gray, with the very low contrast. I'm going to actually pull up the cursor here so just so I could really show you. So there it is. There it is. That while I'm circling here with my cursor, that is that wall of water. Notice about 2 minutes ago, that slot was clear. Now, we're not clear. That is no longer a clear slot. That is all heavy rain that is moving over. And I think it's about to strike. So, very, very interesting image that we're seeing here for Tracy's Landing as of this very moment. Let me get back into Denton because it's probably like it's nobody's business and that's in the city still. Come on. Is that camera out? I hope not, but we're about to find out. I just refreshed the page. Oh, it's not as bad anymore. It started to pull out the city, which is good news. I can just show you that real quickly. There you go. There's the city of Denton right now. Yes, the roads are wet. We just had some very heavy rain move through, but things are starting to calm down just a little bit. Still some heavy rain here in the city of Denton, but it's starting to subside a little bit. Easton, you're about to get on some heavy storms. Let me check out. Got a couple cameras in Easton. Actually, would White Mills be interesting to look at potentially? Yeah, let's take a look at White Mills real quick. If pull that up. Right by Chesapeake College, as these storms are about to move in. This is 50 at 213 right by Chesapeake College. Nothing yet in White Mills, but it's coming up soon. So be mindful. Anything in St. Michael's? No. Easton. Got one on the east end by 15331. I don't like that view. Let's take the Eastern Tower. Okay, that's interesting. So this is the Eastern Tower here on the south side. This is right at 50 at 322. And this is not only looking back into that cellular storm that's popping up on the north side, but it's looking back into this other storm right now that's over Tobin Island and St. Michael's, looking back northwest. We're getting a really good view. I think that might be a shelf cloud on the top edge. You can see how like there's a little bit of a gray contrast there. I think that might be the shelf cloud that's actually moving over these areas at this moment. Tunis Mills, near St. Michael's, and near Mill Creek as well. Poplar Island. That's probably a view, similar view to what we had to Tracy's Landing. We're just looking at it from the other side now. But that's what's heading towards Talbot County, this particular storm. Let me change my scan amount to 10 and I'll loop this for you. Go. Yeah, that's just additional development. And we're going to have a problem with flooding, I feel like, because these storms are moving northeast. They might train over some of the same areas for a while, and that may exacerbate our flooding concerns as we head into tonight. I mean, we already have flood warnings in D.C. We already had flood warnings in Metro Baltimore with these storms. So the concern is there. The history is there. We just have to prepare for it, unfortunately. Pardon me. Let me look at some of these reports that we've had. We've had flash flooding in Baltimore City from emergency management. Near the proving ground earlier, there was a 51 mile per hour wind gust. And there's that warning getting shaved off from Dorchester County. Not Dorchester County, because Dorchester belongs to Wakefield. into portions of eastern Caroline County, western Kent County, Delaware, western Sussex County, Delaware. Scattered thunderstorms here in southern Dorchester County, southern St. Mary's County, and now we're getting some storms here in Charles County, Waldorf, La Plata down to Port Tobacco, and then Bryan's Road, um, Bryantown, I should say, pardon me, Malcolm to Aquasco near Eagle Harbor as you get to extreme southeastern portions of Prince George's County, Dentsville, Belle Alton, right near the Cedar Point Wildlife Management Area. Got some strong storms over that way now, and this is gonna really start trying to get to like a bunch of convection here soon. Yeah, that's the one that they just shaved off, but this is gonna become a bunch of convection over the next several hours, and we're gonna have a lot of rain, a lot of lightning, potential for some damaging winds. Although it's lesser down here in this portion of the state, I would still treat it with the utmost respect. But we're going to have a bunch of convection down here in southern Maryland and the lower Delmarva as the evening progresses. Now, back into the West Metro again. Metro, back west, scattered showers. You're good for right now. Maybe a couple rumbles of thunder in Northern Virginia, getting into Montgomery County here. But for the time being, you're good. You just got a little bit of rain that you got to be aware of. But other than that, nothing like what we had earlier around, what was it, 3:30, 4 o'clock. But that nonetheless, it's there. But that's the general landscape of things right now. We don't have too much ongoing anywhere else as of this moment. Yes, storms in the capital city again. Southern Anne Arundel County is getting on these storms, and this warning just got updated for portions of Northern Caroline County. Some areas have been shaved off. Extreme Northern Talbot County, Queen Anne's County, extreme southeastern Cecil County, and then getting into western Kent County, Delaware, southern and central portions of Newcastle County, Delaware as well. But that's the landscape of things, and that is what is going on right now. Again, hail is not going to be great. I mean, let me just pull up the hail swath over the last 2 hours. This is nothing. Understand, at best, you're getting penny to nickel-sized hail. Now, there may have been a little bit of some stronger hail just offshore from Fort Howard and Edgemere and Swan Point. But other than that, as I mentioned, and the SPC mentioned, the Weather Service Storm Prediction Center mentioned, there wasn't really a big hail threat today. It wasn't going to be a big time threat. It was more or less going to be damaging winds. I mean, the last 2 hours, not impressive at all in terms of the hail swath. Rotation tracks over the last 2 hours, I mean, goodness, there's just been a bunch of wind convection here. This is not to say that we've had strong rotation in some of these thunderstorms here. This is just we've had a lot of wind convection in this context that has gone over some of the same areas over and over again, and it's caused us some issues. So that's what's ongoing. Look at this real quick. Soil saturation, stream flow, strong on the Potomac. I'm just looking at some other things here as well, so forgive me. See a lot of heavy rains move over some of these same areas over and over again. It's been a mess. And there's a new warning. So let me go back. Northern Talbot County, Northern Caroline County. Again, you're gonna get on some even more storms with this. This is that line that's coming off the bay that I showed you on the eastern cam earlier. So, yeah, more storms on the way. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right. So this is a warning. This does include Denton again, Greensboro, Ridgely, Hillsboro, Goldsboro, Henderson, Maridale, Templeville. You're all included with this. This is the northern half of Caroline County that's under play. That's under the gun. That is in play for this thunderstorm here. And this is elongated here, so that's a problem. And we have marine thunderstorm wind gusts that just came in of 39 miles per hour near Cove Point. So that's another thing to consider. Power outages. Let me look at power outages real quick. Not terrible. We're actually not terrible right now. Only 4,000 customers out in Baltimore City, 2,000 out in Baltimore County, 24 customers out in Carroll County, Howard County 235, 519 in Anne Arundel. Now PG County's got almost 4,000 out, about 179 out in Kent County, 87 out in Dorchester. So Queen Anne's County 36, Talbot County only 1, Caroline County nothing yet. So we're holding up well in that category, at least in terms of not having power outages, which is good. There's 55 customers out in Allegheny County at this moment. So, and that was as of 5:32, so 6 minutes ago. Based on the electric providers, BG&E 7,000 out, Choptank Electric Cooperative 300 out, 69 customers out by First Energy. Pepco's reporting 5,500, and the Southern Maryland Electric Cooperative is reporting 75 out right now. And there's a few that are untracked, but that is that. Anything else? Yeah. Not at the moment. I don't think I see much else other than these storms are coming in. 60-mile-per-hour winds again coming into Cordova. I want to check that White Mills camera again. White Mills probably got some strong winds going through. There's a mesonet there. Yeah, it's raining pretty hard at White Mills right now. Let me go back to that same camera that we had right by Chesapeake College. This is it. So that's in White Mills right now as these storms are moving through. Mesonet in White Mills. 77, dew point to 72. Not too long ago, it was about 88 degrees at the top of the hour. Prior to these storms coming in, it was it was around 80, and now we have tanked our temperatures down into the mid 70s as these storms have came through. We got to a high of 91 this afternoon in White Mills, just so you know. So, very interesting, to say the least. 2,800 of an inch of rain since midnight and in the last hour. So, with these storms have dropped a good amount of rain. I'm curious to see this rainfall map now. Since midnight, I mean, Stevensville's picked up 9/10 of an inch of rain. Upper Marlboro, a little over a quarter inch, a little over a third in College Park. At Lake Montebello, almost an inch of rainfall. Towson, 1,400. So it seemed like that bullseye was really the US 50, I-95 corridor. That's where we had a lot of the higher rainfall totals, but I think that's going to expand southward, especially with this next line that's moving into Talbot County. I mean, some of these same locations in Talbot County, I'm going to take off this camera here for a minute, have been getting rained on for a good bit. And it's just going to continue at least for some time because as these storms are moving northeast, look at how it's elongating back to the south and west. So we're gonna have problems in Talbot County with flooding. I'm really afraid of that. And Queen Anne's County, Northern Caroline County, this stretch right here with these storms that extend back across the Eastern Bay, back across the Chesapeake Bay, and into Southern Maryland we go, into Calvert County, Charles County. As these continue onward, we may have additional problems with flooding tonight. So I can't emphasize enough. If you have to drive, please be careful, but preferably if you don't have to be out tonight, don't. Because our flood situation is just going to be exacerbating by the second. New severe thunderstorm warning that includes pretty much all the central Delaware, all of Kent County, Delaware, northern Sussex County, and Delaware as well, with that particular line. And that's going to produce some pretty good rainfall there in central Delaware as well. So we got a long ways ahead of us here across the Eastern Shore, the central portions of the Eastern Shore to be specific. Other storms, St. Mary's County, it's kind of been off and on. The dynamics haven't been as great down here. So I will say, although you may deal with some severe weather, it's on the lower end and you'll get more scattered activity, at least for now, before this next line really starts to organize. And I think it's starting to take shape. You see this here from about Caroline County through Queen Anne's, Talbot County, and it's extending back down into Southern Maryland and then back down into, goodness gracious, you're talking Fauquier County, Orange County, Louisa County, Albemarle County is getting in on this as well. Like, there's a lot of Madison County, Culpeper County. It's starting to take shape. And this is going to impact our southern zone once it really starts to congeal and form into a main line. I think this is where our main event for Southern Maryland and the lower Eastern Shore, the Delmarva region, is going to start to really take shape within the next 2 hours. This is it, right here. We had numerous lines that tried to form earlier across central Maryland, up back into western Maryland. Those have kind of failed at their mission to congeal. This one I feel like has the best chance so far because we're in an environment that has not been impacted so far this afternoon, to a much lesser extent at least. And we also have a lot of instability, and these storms are firing off in multiple locations. So all I'm going to say is this. Southern Maryland, the lower Delmarva, Charlotte Hall, Cambridge, you had a storm earlier, but you probably got more on the way. Salisbury, Princess Anne, Pocomoke, Crisfield, Smith Island, Snow Hill, Box Iron Landing, OC. You're going to have to deal with this. So just know down the line, you're going to deal with some more organized thunderstorms later tonight. Let me take off this drawing here. I think that is most of what is going on here across the southern half of the state. And this may take a while for this to clear out because some of these storms are moving northeast, and the front has to really be the driving force to push all of this out of here. The front is going to have to be the bouncer in a sense. It's going to have to be like, all right, y'all got to get out of here. And that might not happen for a while. So flooding risk down in the Delmarva is going to start increasing. And we've already had problems in the Lehigh Valley and the Delaware Valley with that, and into Metro Baltimore as well. I will be back as necessary with updates. For now, be weather aware, stay safe. I'm Jay Mitchell for 4-0 WA.